Okay, AEW New Japan Forbidden Door just wrapped up. A lot of matches on this show. Again, I think we almost hit match overkill mode again. There were 12 matches on this thing, 4 kickoff show matches alone. So let's get right to it. Our first match, I don't have a picture for, unfortunately, so you're going to have to make do with this. It's QT Marshall and Aaron Solo of the Nightmare Academy versus Yoshi, jeez, oh boy, what did I write here? Yeah, Hashi and Hiroki Goto. Sorry. Oh boy. I apologize for the butchering of the Japanese names. Right off the bat, Marshall it was starting the match. He got chopped and he immediately tagged out. Aaron Solo did a lot of the bulk of this match. A lot of athleticism and. Although at one point, QT Marshall did attempt a 450, but I believe it was Goto rolled out of the way of it. Eventually, Hashi and Goto hit Aaron Solo with a kind of sit-down power bomb final cut finisher for the 3 count of the victory. Not a terrible match by any means, but yeah, definitely a kickoff show match. After that, we have Lance Archer and Nick Komodo. Archer hit a springboard cannonball right as the bell rang. Komodo checked Archer off of the apron into the barricade. Archer came back, he hit a big Uranagi. Eventually Archer hit the blackout, his inverted crucifix bomb finisher for the 3 count of the victory. Again, not a terrible match. It was pretty quickly paced. I mean, these things, they went right into them pretty much. It was... they did a brief introduction, and then they had kind of little vignettes, but only ones that lasted maybe about 2 minutes before going right back to the matches. After that, we had Swerve in Our Glory, Swerve in Our Glory. That's Keith Lee and Swerve Strickland against Desperado and Kanemaru. Kanemaru tried to do a test of strength with Lee, and that kind of lured him into a drop kick into the knee. They definitely spent a lot of time targeting Keith Lee's knee in this one, so because they really couldn't do any power moves, obviously, with a guy like that. Strickland got in. He had a big springboard European on Desperado. Kanemaru came back and hit another big drop kick to Lee's knee. Strickland hit a flying, flying stomp from the apron, I believe. Lee came back, hit the Spirit Bomb for the 3 count of the victory. Afterwards, Powerhouse Hobbs and Ricky Starks of Team Taz called out Lee and Strickland as they walked up the entrance ramp. So this was probably the best of the kickoff show matches. A lot of high impact moves. Way too many to try to write down. Unfortunately, again, also trying to keep the wrestling videos down as much as I can. But still, yeah, this was definitely the best of the kickoff show matches. As I said, very entertaining. And that leads us into our last kickoff show match, the Gun Club with Max Caster against recent New Japan Dojo graduates. I believe it's DKC, Kevin Knight, Yuma, and Coughlin. I didn't quite get all their names because they were up on the screen so fast it's kind of hard to remember all of them. But just before, the funny thing is, just before the match started, Danhausen interrupted on the viewing screen. He called himself Giant Danhausen. And he introduced the Gun Club's new entrance theme, which is basically a parody of the old Badass Billy Gunn Mr. Ass theme, the I'm an Ass Man. Except now it was, what is he called? Yeah, I got it right here. Ass Boys. We're the Ass Boys, Ass Boys. So yeah, that's how I pretty much... Colton and Tyler Gunn ran off after Danhausen, leaving only Billy Gunn and Max Caster in the ring. The New Japan graduates ganged up on Kevin Knight, and Yumura hit a couple double team moves on Caster. Caster was really isolated throughout all it. And but then Billy Gunn, who I guess they're the baby faces in this matchup because I'm not entirely sure. But Gunn got the hot tag and started clearing house, and yeah, Caster then hit the mic drop on, I believe it was DKC for the 3 count of the victory. Yeah, this match was kind of weird. Again, it was kind of hard to figure out who the baby faces were supposed to be in this matches. Sorry for clearing my throat so much there. Anyway. And it was just, again, kind of a train wreck, and even to the point where, again, I believe the Gun Club, up until this point, have been depicted as heels in this, especially in the Danhausen rivalry. But, you know, here it's 2 against 4, and you start pulling for the 2 against the 4 at that point. So, yeah, it just doesn't really make a lot of sense. Alright, so we're moving into the show proper. We have the Jericho Appreciation Society of Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara, and Michiro Suzuki against the Blackpool Combat Club, Eddie Kingston, Wheeler Yuta, and Yumino. The winners getting the upper hand in the Blood and Guts match on Wednesday. I'm not covering that. I'm covering a lot of other stuff this week. I don't have time. Anyway, early on, Jericho kind of tried his best to avoid both Kingston and Yumino because it was past with them. Yuta did a lot with him, but eventually Yumino and Kingston got their hands on Jericho. Suzuki tagged in, squared off a lot with Kingston, and I would say maybe Yuta after that. A lot of brawling in this. Eventually Guevara Kingston hit an exploder on Guevara and got the hot tag to Yumino. Guevara came in, he hit a shooting star press to the outside of the ring. Basically, what happens, a big schmoz broke out. Yumino seemed to have the upper hand at one point until both Guevara and Suzuki kind of ganged up on him and distracted him just long enough for Jericho to hit the Judas Effect elbow for the 3 count of the victory. Yeah, this was probably kind of a slow match to start things off. I think didn't quite live up to, early on I thought there was some good storytelling, but I think it turned into too much of a schmoz towards the end. It was really hard to keep track of everything. I think I was only barely able to figure out who was legal because guys would just walk into the ring and suddenly they were just legal. They didn't tag or anything. So again, a little too much of a distraction going on there. Okay, our next match is the triple threat match for both the Ring of Honor and the IWGP Tag Team Championships. Winner takes all. And that is FTR versus Roppongi Vice, and Cobb and Khan of United Empire. Let's see. Basically, this is one of those matches where it's only one person is in the, or only two men are in the ring at the same time. It's not the where each tag team is represented. I'm not a huge fan of those ones, of the one that this was, but I think this did a pretty good job early on, except very early on, I don't know if this is meant to be part of the angle or not, given the build-up to this show, but Dax Harwood seemed to suffer some type of shoulder injury, and you could tell that he was really fighting something, and they cobbled it. Yeah, it's like the ring doctor came down almost immediately, so he went back up to the ramp, and that left, oh boy, did I say Cash Wheeler? It was Dax Harwood. See, the announcers did this too. Kevin Kelly, blew that, and it's like, oh wait, no, wait, oh. See, I mean, even in my notes, I have Harwood crossed out, then Wheeler in parentheses, but then that's crossed out and Harwood is put back in. And so after that, Roppongi Vice got in. Both, I don't know if they were heel teams, but the non-AEW teams, let's just say that, went in after each other a lot. They would, Roppongi Vice would isolate Wheeler for a while, but then, Cobb and Khan would come in and isolate him, and then they would fight, and then really a lot of high-impact moves, and then just as it looked like, I believe it was Roppongi Vice going for a finisher, Harwood returns to the ring and gets the hot tag and starts clearing house, and this eventually leads to FTR hitting the Shatter Machine on Rocky Romero for the 3 count of the victory to become, to retain their ROH championship, tag team championships, but become the new IWGP tag team championships. or champions. Sorry. This was a really good match. Again, I don't know if Harwood's injury is legit or not, but it certainly felt like it, and it definitely added a lot of gravitas to the story. So it's like when he returned to the ring, like, okay, FTR is going to win this, because you can't have him, make that kind of comeback and, have them lose. That just doesn't make much sense. All right, our next match is the four-way to become the inaugural AEW All-American, or All-Atlantic Championship, sorry. We have Malachi Black versus Miro versus the Bastard Pac versus Clark Connors, who's replacing Ishii, who, unfortunately, due to a knee injury, could not compete, or was not cleared to compete. And right off the bat, Pac and Malachi Black go after each other. Miro and Connors kind of also brawl to the outside of the ring to make up for that. Black hip tossed Pac into Connors, and then they got and shoved, I believe it was Miro, into the ring steps. Black thwarted Pac trying to do a sneak attack on Miro to get any more. And Miro really kind of dominated the early part of this match. He would come in, he would hit a bunch of moves, and only because the other guys were interfering in the pinfalls was he not getting any type of decisions. Pac hit a cartwheel, plancha to the outside. Eventually, Black got a table out, and Miro was Connors speared Miro through the table. This is what kind of won Connors over to the crowd a bit more, something that everyone was cheering for him. He hit his finisher, which is the Hunter's Trophy, sorry. Trophy Hunter, that's what it's called, on Pac. Malachi Black broke that up. Again, it looked like he might get Pac up in an Econo roll, but then, Miro got back in the ring at that point. He knocked Connors out, and I think he went after Pac again, but Malachi Black hit him with the Black Mist, and that's like, oh, okay, this is going to change, because I think everyone going into this match thought Miro was going to win. So, yeah, they had him pegged as the big winner. But no, instead, again, I believe it was Pac who was in the game over chinlock hold. I believe that's what Miro's finisher is now called. And he got out of that, obviously. Connors got in and tried to spear Black, but Black got him in basically an armbar type maneuver, but that enabled Pac to get up and hit the Black Arrow and cover Connors for the put Connors in the brutalizer, for the tap-out victory. So Pac is actually your inaugural All-Atlantic champion. Really good match. It definitely did a good job of spotlighting everyone. Connors came across as a very credible challenger at some point. It's nice to see Pac finally get a leg up in AEW, which I don't think he's ever really had. He's definitely been one of these guys just kind of caught in the turnstile of things, like where it's just nothing is happening with them. I mean, all of these guys kind of are. I mean, Malachi Black has at least gotten the most amount of work in the recent months, but still, it's like, guys just disappearing for weeks at a time, and then it's like, are they even still in AEW? And you're not entirely sure. So, again, hopefully this means we can get more Pac on TV. And that leads us into our next match, which is the Dudes with Attitude, Sting, Darby Allin, and Tagaki against the Young Bucks and El Phantasmo. So it was supposed to be an 8-man match, but the 8th man for the Bullet Club, I believe he got a fever on the flight over, so they didn't want to risk anything. Early on, Sting did not come out with the babyfaces, and we're like, what's going on? And then when the Bullet Club came out, Sting jumped off of the babyface entrance tunnel to take them out with a big crossbody. Basically, a lot of humor points in this match. I think that they maybe overdid the humor a little bit. They're doing the trademark Bullet Club back rakes, and at one point Sting shrugs one off, and El Phantasmo goes for the purple nurple, and Sting is just standing there looking at him like, what the hell are you doing? Darby Allin got some good licks in, so did Tagaki. Sting, like I said, shrugged off a purple nurple, shrugged off a couple super kicks from the Young Bucks. Darby Allin did a big trust fall to the outside of the ring. Eventually, Tagaki hit El Phantasmo with the Path of the Dragon for the 3 count of the victory. Good babyface victory, but yeah. Again, kind of maybe a little too cluttered a match with a little too much humor in it, for at least for my taste. Like, I do like good humor matches, which we'll get to, but yeah, it was definitely kind of flat. And that leads us into our next match, the AEW Women's World Championship match, Thunder Rosa versus Toni Storm. Some nice chain wrestling to open things up. Storm locked on a bow and arrow and hit a big snap suplex. Rosa hit a jumping, a jumping stunner. And then they got to the outside of the ring, or onto the ring apron. Storm hit a German suplex on the ring apron, then followed up with a DDT off of the apron. Rosa came back. She hit the Death Valley Driver and hit her Thunder Driver. And at this point, I think Toni Storm got injured again. At least that's the way it looked, because this thing finished pretty rapidly after that. Like, it suddenly looked like Storm was supposed to fight back, but something just felt off because she couldn't move her arm well, and she was not moving right. And like I said, eventually Rosa came back. She hit the final reckoning. That's Dustin Rhodes. It's not the curtain call. It's the kind of swinging gourd buster for the 3 count and the victory. And again, it looked like Storm was just because Storm was going for the Storm Zero, and she Thunder Rosa fought out of that to hit that finisher. Yeah, there's a moth in here. I think you may have just seen that. I'm sorry. And like I said, yeah, I'm not sure if Toni Storm is legit hurt, but it certainly looked that way. Okay, our next match is the IWGP United States Championship match. Will Ospreay versus Orange Cassidy. Ospreay is technically the champion, though Juice Robinson still has the belt for a very convoluted reason involving appendicitis. Anyway, like I said, Cassidy doing a lot of his shtick, and that dodged a running drop kick from Ospreay. Ospreay would go for his maneuvers, but Cassidy would just move just that little bit to, again, kind of irk him and annoy him. Eventually, the Aussie Empire, or the United Empire guys, what's his Australian branch called again? They threw Cassidy into the ring barricade, and that kind of got Ospreay a bit of an upper hand. He had a whirlwind backbreaker, but Cassidy eventually fought back. He bought out of it. He hit a what did I hit there? He hit his running pocket dropkick. In fact, at one point, Ospreay had Cassidy in, I think it was an octopus stretch, and actually stuck his hand in Cassidy's pockets. And then Cassidy came back. He hit the Stun Dog Millionaire. Seemed to be getting an upper hand. At one point, tried to rope Ospreay into doing a maneuver made it look like he had fallen off the ring and was unconscious. So Ospreay went for like a Phoenix Splash, but he was kind of Ospreay had gotten a little hip to it and caught Cassidy off guard again. And eventually, he hit his two Oz Cutters and then the Stormbreaker for the 3 count of the victory. And afterwards, they beat up on Cassidy, and Trent Beretta and Rocky Romero came down to the ring, and then and then the big thing was Shibata came down to the ring. I forget his first name, unfortunately. And Shibata came back, and that again, the crowd just kind of went bonkers for that. I know Shibata has had so many injuries over the years, most notably a subdural hematoma. So yeah, again, it's like, okay, how back can he be at this point? Because I know that it took him a long time to get medically cleared. So I don't know what this means, because again, the belt is actually still with Juice Robinson at this point. But overall, the match was pretty good. This was a better humor match than the Young Bucks one. It just kind of worked a little bit better. Okay, our next match is Zack Sabre Jr. versus not Bryan Danielson as promised before. Danielson apparently seems to have suffered an injury that he could not get medically cleared for. It's probably another concussion, unfortunately. But instead, he managed to find a new member for the Blackpool Combat Club, and it's not the biggest secret, not the most well-kept secret, as it's Claudio Castagnoli, a.k.a. Former Cesaro from WWE. Right off the bat, it seemed that Claudio caught Sabre off guard because he hit him with a European uppercut and the neutralizer right off the bat. Sabre did come back a little bit, locked on a couple arm bars over the top rope. Excuse me. He hit an elbow stomp. Claudio came back. He had kind of a backbreaker uppercut combo. Eventually though, Cesaro started to develop arm injuries, so he couldn't quite get the swing other than more than just 5 times. Sabre turned a Scorpion Deathlock into a heel hook. Sabre does the S kicks, but eventually Castagnoli recovered and hit the Ricola bomb for the 3 count of the victory. Really good match. Sabre really well done heel. Again, most of my exposure to Zack Sabre unfortunately came during the Cruiserweight Classic in WWE, where he was just, there wasn't really a lot of character development in that. It was just the athleticism of the Cruiserweights. But still, I could tell, this guy is supposed to be a natural heel in this scenario. And, thought it was funny because they're showing the build-up and they're talking about how Sabre thinks that Danielson is faking his injury, and maybe I won't even show up, but then he just kind of shows up. So, yeah, a little bizarre there. Anyway, our next match is the 4-way match for the IWGP Heavyweight Championship. Switchblade Jay White against Hangman Adam Page against Adam Cole Bebe and Kazuchika Okada. And definitely a very popular match for people named Adam. Right off the bat, both Cole and White rolled right out of the ring, kind of content to let Okada and Page fight it out, but Page and Okada basically went after them. They double teamed Page and did a big suplex on the on the entrance ramp. They were fighting through. Page hit the flying lariat on Cole. Okada fought through a bit, and you're just kind of waiting for, okay, Cole and White are working together, but when's the point where one of them's going to turn? And it happened with Cole hitting White with a backstabber. They fought back. They fought towards the... Okada caught back into it. He kind of threw them over the ring barricade into the crowd, and then followed that up with a big cross body into the crowd. It seemed like Okada was getting getting a big moment, but then Hangman Page came in. He hit the buckshot. He tried to hit the buckshot lariat, but Gato of Bullet Club broke that attempt up. Okada got in the ring, kept trying to hit the Rainmaker. Page actually hit Okada with the Rainmaker, and then we got the kind of rushed finish with this match. Again, Okada hit a big elbow drop on Cole, and then tried to go for the Rainmaker. Jay White ran in, hit the Blade Runner on Okada, but then instinctively just went over to Adam Cole and covered him instead. And it looked like maybe Adam Cole also had gotten injured during this. At least that's how they kind of treated it afterwards. Afterwards, also, the Undisputed Elite came out, and they were not happy that had happened. But, yeah, it's like, White hit the Blade Runner, looked at Okada as he started roll up, as it was near rolling, or as he was lying there, but they immediately turned around and covered Cole for some reason. And I'm not entirely sure. They said, they were looking at it like maybe Cole might have actually been injured. Again, I don't know what's going on with this. Like I said, overall the match was really good, really entertaining. It just had kind of a weird finish. And that leads us to our main event, the AEW Interim World Championship match, Jon Moxley versus Hiroshi Tanahashi. I'm sure you all know CM Punk won the AEW Championship, but then had to relinquish it. Well, he didn't relinquish it. He couldn't defend it due to an injury, and so they said, no, we're not going to strip you of the championship. We're just going to do an interim championship like they do in UFC. Tanahashi hit a big crossbody, which upset Moxley early on. Looked like Tanahashi may have injured a knee with a dragon screw, so he began focusing on trying to set Moxley up for the cloverleaf. Eventually Moxley fought back and hit a pile driver and actually locked on a cloverleaf of his own. Tanahashi came back with a sling blade, and somehow Moxley got busted open. And I'm still not sure as to what happened, because it didn't look like anything too vicious happened, and it was up on top of his head, so it couldn't be blading. Blading's here, not here. And yeah, he was pouring quite a bit of blood out. Moxley did hit the paradigm shift, but only got a 2 count. Moxley countered a high fly flow into the Bulldog choke. Moxley repeatedly elbowed Tanahashi in the head, locked on a rear naked choke. And eventually Tanahashi again tried to hit the high fly flow, but got out of the... He was going for, I believe it was maybe a V-trigger type maneuver. Moxley countered that into the paradigm shift for the 3 count in the victory. No, not the paradigm. The Death Rider. The elevated paradigm shift. Where he gets him way up high and then drops him down. And got the 3 count in the victory. Afterwards, Tanahashi and Moxley shook hands. But then the Jericho Appreciation Society stormed the ring. And then the Blackpool Combat Club stormed the ring, including Claudio, who was the one who really cleaned house. Eddie Kingston was not happy about Claudio Castagnoli being in this club, so he kind of, swore at them and left. So obviously we're probably going to get the Eddie Kingston heel turn pretty soon. So yeah, I'm guessing Jericho Appreciation Society wins Blood and Guts on Wednesday. Yeah, so again, the match overall, again, not bad. It had some moments, bit of a weird rushed finish again, especially with the amount of blood. And maybe that's why, at least in that case, I can understand, just because Moxley was losing a lot of blood in that, and I think, okay, if we're going to do anything to finish this, we got to maybe wrap this up now. So, yeah, it did have kind of, not quite anticlimactic finish, but yeah, not terrible. Overall, like I said, the show was pretty good. Overall, it was more than pretty good. It was really entertaining. Again, just match overkill. 13 matches is so much. Again, I especially appreciate that we actually got matches on the kickoff show, but, I would have been okay with just 2. I think that would have been fine, 2 or even 3, reasonably spaced out matches, and then maybe a little 15-minute thing for, vignettes. But other than that, again, that was overall pretty enjoyable. A little long-winded sometimes. Again, also too many weird, almost injury storylines that unfortunately happened. If it happened realistically, I hope everyone's okay. But again, it's like, boy, when that happens 2-3 times on a show, it's like, okay, something might be a little wrong here. Again, hopefully everyone's okay, and like I said, not terrible, just maybe a little too long-winded, maybe a little too bloated out. I'm going to give AEW New Japan Forbidden Door a B. Again, I liked most of it, just, again, a little too many clunky finishes, and, again, bloated. So, yeah. Next review is going to be Minions, Rise of Gru. Next wrestling show is Impact Wrestling Against All Odds. That's on Friday. Money in the Bank is on Saturday. The reviews for those will be up on the day after, obviously, because it's late, and I gotta try to get this edited. I'll try to see if I can get this up earlier Monday morning. It's still Sunday here, and don't know, but if not, it's probably gonna be more like towards the middle. It might be more like 10 a.m. or at least 10 a.m. my time. I don't know what it'll be on your time. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember to check out my Patreon at patreon.com/SleepyTime for Cat Productions, where you can help me expand my wrestling coverage to stuff beyond WWE, NXT, and the occasional AEW free show.